Okay, the next thing I'm recording now, it's talking about the FTC's Privacy by Design plan, what you need to know. This is an article that was put out by digitaltrends.com. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission has released its final report on how to better protect consumer privacy. It's a condensed version of everything that you need to know. Federal Trade Commission released today its final report on privacy, an updated and revised version of the preliminary report the FTC released in December in 2010. The new report, dubbed Protecting Consumer Privacy in an Era of Rapid Change, outlines laws that are on the books concerning user privacy and details a framework of how U.S. businesses can better protect user data. While the report does not establish any new rules, it does provide a comprehensive look at how federal government is attempting to get a handle on privacy in the web and application era. Rather than making you read the full report, here's a breakdown on the most important bits that could affect you and your online life. Who's in and who's out? The policy framework outlined by the FTC applies to nearly all companies that collect or use consumer data that can be reasonably linked to specific consumer, computer, or other device. Due to the financial burden of the proposals in the framework, the FTC has updated this final version of the report to exclude businesses that collect data from fewer than 5,000 customers per year and do not share data with third parties, in other words. The proposal applies to nearly every service that you use. The hell does that mean? So but that'll take me a minute to soak in. Due to the financial burden of the proposals in the framework, the FTC updated the final version of the report to exclude business that collect data from fewer than 5,000 customers per year and do not share data with third parties. In other words, the proposal applies to nearly every service that you use. Okay, so yeah, pretty much everybody. At the heart of the FTC's recommendation, privacy by design, data security, reasonable collection. I'm just going to go through this really fast. Do not track. Well, businesses build privacy in mind, definitely good advice. It fails to address all businesses that are already up and running at full force, does little to help the end users protect themselves. That's where do not track comes in. For those of you in the dark, do not track is technology that allows users to opt out of having their web activity tracked. You know the options whenever something asks, do you want to allow the application to track you, to check in, get your geolocation, those kind of things. Sometimes applications require you to allow the application to get your geolocation to track where you are in order for you to even install it and use it. These are options to be able to turn that option off, to be able to opt out of it. They're saying that by the end of the year, there's going to be an easy and effective solution for all of the apps that you're using. Browsers, Digital Advertising Alliance. Browsers, they say the FTC says significant progress has been made in the area of the Do Not Track implementation with Mozilla, Microsoft, and Apple, all releasing updated versions of the browsers with the Do Not Track technology built in. You ever notice whenever you go to a website and say you're searching for theater seating for your living room, and then you happen to go to a website that has a little ad on the side, and all of a sudden, holy crap, there's an ad for theater seating on the side of your web page. That's the tracking. It knows where you've been. The browser knows where you've been. That's just information that your browser collects. It's not stealing info from your computer. It's just telling where you've been. It tells what your habits are. It's just targeted advertising. There's going to be options in the newer browsers to. You can do that now by disabling all of your cookies and turning on your privacy all to ultra high mode, and then surfing the internet would be a royal pain in the butt. You would absolutely hate it, and you would just, yeah, it's kind of worthless. Now, Digital Advertising Alliance, or DAA, which represents about 90% of all websites that use advertising, has agreed to respect Do Not Track as well as browser setting and prevent data collection. In addition, the DAA has created an icon that will appear on DAA-affiliated ads, which users can click on types of data, and I'll call that person back, which represents about 90% of all websites that use advertising. Has agreed. In addition, DA has created an icon that will appear. I already said that. Which users? Finally, DA has agreed to limit the secondary use of collection data in credit reports and employer background checks. That's scary. Didn't know they were doing that. W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium. The international standards body for the internet has agreed to work on industry developed standard technology for Do Not Track. W3C, if you go to w3cschools.com, you can learn all about it. It tells you a whole bunch about about how people learn how to design web pages, how websites are coded, standards that have to be met in order for websites to be cross-browser compatible, how XHTML, XML, PHP, all of your different browser languages, how they all talk to each other and how they are all compatible with one another. CSS, cascading style sheets. All of that information is on w3schools.org.com. Search for W3 Schools. Google it. It works. But if W3C is going to implement it and they're going to start putting out standards, then people are going to have to abide by it, because then the browser manufacturer, the people that make the browsers that work on all of our cute little devices and our computers and our phones and everything else, they build all of their applications and their browsers and all of their devices to work to the W3C standards. So everybody has to build everything to those standards so it works right. So everything pulls up in your phone and it looks good. It's a royal pain in the ass. I'm just saying. Because whenever they change a standard, we have to change how we make a web page. But there is a whole lot of stuff here. Will the report change anything? I'm just going to skip to the end. You can read it yourself. I left a note. Not by itself, as the FTC makes it clear, this proposal is just that, a set of ideas on how things should work, not a set of rules. This means the report has no direct repercussions for companies or the way data is treated. No enforcement mechanism is established. Its purpose, however, is to explain to the technology industry what the government expects them to do voluntarily. Yeah. And what kinds of legislation the Commission hopes Congress will enact to help protect consumers from zealous data collectors. Well, that was useless. That was a whole lot of time wasted. We highly recommend everyone read through the whole report. They give you a link to the PDF. It's a little long and probably boring, but it provides the best look at the state of online privacy and where it might be headed. I don't know. Maybe something will happen. Cool. Do not track buttons, giant loophole, Google's privacy. There's a lot of people that are talking about a whole bunch of different stuff. You never know. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. Wow. Did not. That's kind of loony. But anyway, I've tweeted it, shared it. It's kind of an interesting. That's kind of an interesting article. And I'll probably end up reading the whole thing. Okay. So I will stop recording this and we will move on to something interesting. Hopefully. If you have any questions or if you need any help with anything, please pop into the chat and let me know.